Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart. Best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Hey folks, welcome to the Smacked Raw podcast, your one-stop shop for all your WWE, AEW, NXT recaps, reviews, pay-per-view predictions. It's your host here, Kyle, man. Joining us today, we have SES Vince in the house. What's up, Vince?
Hey, what it do, baby?
Yeah, man. And Sebastian's here too. No, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'll be like that SpongeBob meme and be like, all right, I'm out.
We just on Sebastian.
Oh my
Anyway,
god.
Let's finish the intro.
Yes. You guys, we are a pro wrestling podcast. If you haven't listened to us before, man, please consider hitting like and subscribe. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, Google Play Music, and iTunes. And of course, we are over there on YouTube, which we are streaming live. Consider hitting like and subscribe. Help us out, man. Let's get to that 100 subscriber mark. Get a custom URL, all that fun stuff. And then, of course, if you want to chat with us, man, hit us up in the comments. I'm lurking in the comments, just waiting to talk to somebody. Or you can get a hold of us on Twitter at SmackDropPod, myself at The Kai Tai Show. Of course, Vince is at SES Vince. And our AJ Styles of podcast and Sebastian is at WrestlingFan_32. All right, man. What are we here to watch? Hey, what are we covering today? I forget.
Triple
Series
Mania.
2002.
Triple Mania.
Oh, it's not a throwback. No, no.
Oh man.
Wait. Are we recapping the new Rick and Morty episode?
Oh,
Is that what we're
I
doing?
wish. Oh, we should do that. It's on tonight, man. Oh, I'm stoked.
But we're here to talk about Rick and Morty's partners on TNT, AEW. They just had their pay-per-view.
Rick and Morty's
this
sidekick.
past
They're
Saturday.
just little sidekicks, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like a parallel universe sidekick somewhere. Yeah, it was overall. I thought it was a fun show. I
Dude.
liked it. I had fun.
They knocked it out the park, man. They
main event.
if there's anything that they showed, just I don't know, like how the saying goes, if you're not closing the show, you want to open. And damn it, dude, if the opening match didn't nail it out the park and the closing match nailed it out the park, it was perfect. I got hyped going into the show, and then leaving the show, I was so buzzing that when my wife got home, I replayed the Mox and Omega match. Like right after it went off the air, I just replayed it again and watched it all over again with her, just because it was just that match. We could spend an entire podcast just talking about that match. Just that one damn match.
We should have like a whole separate podcast where we talk about that one match.
Shit, man, we'll just
Because
skim
nobody
over the whole
listens.
card and just spend 40 minutes on this match.
I don't think that would be.
We'll
right.
do the classic WCW just spoiler list. Just run down the matches real fast.
We should at least start with the buy-in.
All right, so, well, really quick, we both got our point of views in. We'll go ahead. In a nutshell, Sebastian, man, how'd you enjoy the show, man?
It's solid. A very solid show. I had a couple little down points for me, but overall, I'd probably give it.
Dude, what's it gonna take to get you to be like, Kyle, this show blew me away, man? Like,
Is an A- not a good grade? I don't understand.
no, I know. You're always that fair grading guy. Like, you never let your emotions come over into your grade. You're like, it's a solid show.
You know who Sebastian is? Sebastian is that one guy in the NBA slam dunk contest that everybody gives a 10 to a perfect dunk, and he's the one guy that says that was a 9.
Yeah,
That's
that's
who he is. He's the guy that was like, wow, that was so good. 10. That's 10 across the board. And he's like, I'm gonna give it a 9. Because if I give it a 10, then there's no room for improvement. He's that kind of guy. That's who he is. That's who Sebastian is. Like, I would hate to have Sebastian as a teacher. I would hate to have Sebastian as a teacher.
I'm telling
If it
you,
deserves a 9, it'll get a 9. That's all I'm saying.
it's Sebastian's.
Oh my gosh.
Sebastian's the Simon Cowell of podcasting, man. It's like, it's to the point now where these wrestling shows, it's like did Sebastian just say it was enjoyable? And it's like, that's the accomplishment. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Oh my gosh.
When you watch 15 hours a week, enjoyable is good. Okay? I can easily get burned out, but I know.
oh man.
Alright.
Yeah, no, this show was awesome, folks. You guys already know. Look, we're one of the last people to get this up, and we really appreciate it if you're giving us the time of day to listen to this. We completely understand that most of this stuff has already been recapped, already been said, but man, we got to get our points in there too, because this show, to me, it was it didn't blow me away like a WrestleMania, like huge moments, although it definitely had its moments, but it just showed what a like solid show looks like from top to finish. I mean, there are criticism in there. I already see that a lot of people are criticizing how long it lasted. For you guys, was it too long?
I mean, for me, it was more of I didn't have to sit there and like have like a full like one sitting and watch it from start to finish. I was watching bits and pieces of it while I was at work, and then I'd fill in the gap when I got home, and obviously saw some clips and highlights on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. So it was more of me kind of like putting the jigsaw of Full Gear, the puzzle together, and trying to like piece it together. So in that sense, because it was such a unique viewing experience for me, I felt like it was a fun show. I didn't really feel like it was too long. Obviously, there's certain stuff that I just might have like not have like had to like really focus on, like the Sean Spears match. I didn't focus too much on it because I don't think too much stood out to me besides the finish.
I got
But
you.
yeah, other than that, I thought it was really good. It felt like a fast-paced show, and yes, it's like 3-something hours, but I'm kind of used to that with WWE.
Yeah.
And for the longest, we had to sit there for like 4, 5, 6-hour pay-per-views. So this kind of felt like a breeze. It's no Takeover by any means, because Takeover gets you out of there in like 2.5 hours tops, maybe less.
Right.
But other than that, I thought it was good.
Awesome, man. Oh, yeah, that's what it should be. Yeah, we'll get into it, man. We're going. What do we kick it off with? We had Britt Baker and B. Priestley starting the night off. Granted, now the first half of this show, unfortunately I was at work. I did have it playing. Like I couldn't sit there and watch it move for move. And this one, I'm gonna let Sebastian take over because unfortunately I had a customer come in and pull me away from the match halfway through, and the big angle that took place afterwards. So, Sebastian, talk us through this, man. What happened?
Well, you want me to be honest here? This was when I was remember I was having a YouTube problem and stuff. So,
Okay. So you were having trouble watching it yourself.
yeah.
Okay, so anyway, Britt Baker won with the mandible claw. Let's get this out of the way. The result is, we all know what happened. Britt Baker ended up winning a pretty quick match against B. Priestley with the mandible claw. Afterwards, out comes Brandy Rhodes with Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong's got new gear, looking kind of like a hunter, and she got like trophies hanging off of her waist, but the trophies are locks of hair. But that wasn't too apparent right away because we get in the ring and Brandy pulls out an effing knife. And we're like, yo, okay, so this is YouTube, folks. This ain't even on pay-per-view yet. Why we got a knife in there? Awesome Kong takes it. She cuts off a piece of B. Priestley's hair. She sniffs it for way too long, for my liking, to be fair with you. And then, of course, attaches it to her belt. It seems like that's going to be her thing. Cutting hair. The thing that strikes me here, there's a lot here that you can kind of like be like WTF, but I think the biggest standout here is that it's been heels that Brandy Rhodes has attacked. We haven't had, the normal dynamic is you have the monster heel attack the underdog plucky babyface. But we've had heels getting taken out.
Allie, though? Isn't that how she started descending into heeldom?
But Hayter, so far, Hayter and Priestley are the two victims since this whole Brandy Rhodes pseudo voodoo persona has started to take over. And her yeah, and her whole like synergy relationship with Awesome Kong, they're attacking heels. I mean, So that's the only thing. I'm not mad at it. Like, by no means, I'm glad to see something different, and that's exactly what this is. Just trying to figure out exactly what's going on with it. That's all.
Maybe they're targeting people. They're not necessarily heels. They're more or less targeting people who they feel have committed sins or have like committed adulteries or faults or done something wrong. They're harming other
Wow.
people and feel like they're the judge, jury, and executioner of the women's
Justice.
division. Yeah, so they're out here doing their best Law and Order.
And why the hell is Brandy practicing voodoo, man? Like, that's weird, man.
I don't know. It's a new spin on things. It's a new take on things.
Seb, what's your
We'll
take,
see how
man?
it
You like this hokey shit, man?
I'm not a fan of this voodoo shit. No, not a fan. But Brandy says she's a heel. Somebody on Twitter yesterday made a comment and said she was going for Big Show's record, and her actual response was, "I've used other people to attack my opponents. I beat up my own brother-in-law. I've been kicked out ringside more than anyone I know. And most recently, I beat up a woman backstage and called everyone the B word. I'm just America's sweetheart." So
Never changed, Brandy.
she's saying she's a heel.
Never changed, Brandy. So after that, man. Now, granted, the kickoff show, we don't have to dive into it too much. It was used as a platform for promo packages. And by the way, if you have not watched the hour-long kickoff show, their promos in Seb, I believe you probably. I mean, I know you said you were having trouble with YouTube, but I'm telling you right now, they knocked it out the park. Like, I would watch that junk every week if those promos were as good as they were in that hour-long kickoff. It was amazing. But we don't have to dive too much into that because it really was just a hype fest for tonight's card. So we kicked off the main pay-per-view with Pride and Powerful, who I'm slowly coming around to their name, taking on the Young Bucks. And if you're watching on YouTube, sorry, man, picture here. I couldn't find a good one. Spoils it. Yeah, Pride and Powerful come away with the victory here. But damn, man, this man. Who said the Young Bucks can't tell stories, man? Who said the Young Bucks can't tell stories? Because they need to retract their damn statement, bro.
I think it's just Cornette and his cults of like minions that like to sit there and trash the Young Bucks. I think honestly it's just the internet wrestling community that sits there and wants to like discredit the Young Bucks, because I know for a fact that there are a lot of wrestlers and there are a lot of fans that know that they can tell a good story. Because like for like the longest, like they had a whole story in New Japan where Matt Jackson had like a back issue.
His
and they
back,
were
yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was a lingering like problem, like a lingering like story plot that they were telling. They can tell great stories, and I know it's like not the same thing, but like if you go in and watch their earlier Being the Elite stuff, I haven't really watched the newer episodes since like I want to say like All Out. But for the most part, they're great storytellers. They're one of the main people that do the creative direction. And actually, I might have helped create like the name for the pay-per-view, because I know you had your theories on what Full Gear like the name concept came from.
Yeah.
Like at this point, they'd be Full Gear into like the show, but actually they had a whole like prop when they were setting up for All Out, when it was going to be Hangman Page versus Pac the first time around. It got canceled. It was So like it was a whole thing where like Pac had like a body of an Adonis, and then Hangman Page wasn't in like the best shape, and he would go out and like in venues and events in full gear was the term. So he would go in full gear. So he had the Full Gear challenge to get into shape. So it's a parody and a spin-off, and they're using that from
Are you serious?
The Elite. Yeah, that's exactly where it came from. It's like, like it was a whole Hangman Page thing where it's like Full Gear, but then they incorporated it and put with gears and stuff. So like that's where they got the name. That's where the name originally stemmed from. Like a year ago, they're like building up to the first Pac versus Hangman Page match.
Goodness gracious, there you go, man.
Yeah. And then that's long-term storytelling from the Bucks. Obviously, they're head of creative. Obviously, they can tell a great story in the match. And Pride and Powerful, like you said, these two teams, are like two of my favorite teams in all of wrestling. They're really up there with guys like the Usos, New Day Revival, like Lucha Bros. They're one of the top talents, and there was a reason why both NXT/WWE and AEW both wanted the former LAX members.
I've been watching the Steven Larson made me chuckle. They refer to Pride and Powerful as XLAX. They call them
Oh,
XLAX.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna call them.
No, we
that's
can't.
what
We
I'm
can't
calling
steal
them
it. We can't call them that on the show because that's totally their stuff. But
No, I mean, we're not just to rip them off. I'm just like carrying over that momentum. I'm bringing that energy
Dude.
over to to our podcast.
that Chuck, man,
it's a better name.
It look, man,
XLAX is a better name than Proud and Powerful.
they are working hard to get that name over though, man. They in their promo. Go ahead.
Oh, it's over. It's over. It's over in the Delgado household for me.
For sure.
It's already over.
Have they copyrighted said name? That's the important
XLAX.
Yes.
XLAX.
We'll reach
No,
out to
but-
Steve here.
then
Okay.
We're good.
No.
If it's not copyrighted.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, I've used Rudolph on the podcast so many times, and they've used it on their ongoing and Raw, and I've seen multitude of people using the name Rudolph. It's until someone claims it and copyrights it, I think it's fair game, so long as we credit the originators.
What do you guys
Which
think in
we're
the
doing.
comments, man? Can we use XLAX or do you like Pride and Powerful, man? Let us know.
Nah, XLAX is better. We'll do a poll or
It's
something.
totally
Do one of your
better.
famous polls.
Yeah.
The one here. But other than that, I think the thing that stood out to me, like the two biggest things that stood out to me between these two clashes of the two top tag teams in AEW was the Enzo Amore like magic card flop that Ortiz did when he got super kicked.
We got super kicked into a dolphin.
Yeah, he got super kicked into a ball. It was hilarious. It was like the most memeable thing all night.
Yeah.
And then on top of that was I forgot who it was, but one of the Rock and Roll Express guys hitting the Canadian Destroyer. Was
Yeah,
pretty cool
man.
to see.
And then the suicide dive right afterwards. That was crazy.
See, here's the thing. I thought it was cool, but I still always will lean towards the notion that once you hit a certain age, you should not be taking bumps, even if you can. Just I worry for some of these wrestlers. I don't
Papa's
want
got to
them
pay
take
the
bumps.
bills, man. Papa's got to
I'm
pay the
sorry.
bills.
Gotta save your money, man. It's not about how much you make; it's about how much you save. And obviously, if you're still doing stuff like that, you haven't been saving your money that well.
Let me get your opinion on something really quick, Sebastian. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. But listen, come on, man. That Canadian Destroyer was badass.
It
was.
was. I'm just saying for future references, that was cool. That was nice enough, but leave it there. I don't want
Leave it
anyone to
there.
get hurt.
You got your gifts. All right, those gifts will last a lifetime. Sebastian, let me ask. Let me know if you picked up on it. But what did you think of JR's commentary? That was a hot topic here, and throughout the night, JR not knowing names of moves, getting.
JR had a bad night.
He was getting tag team members' names mixed up.
Which I give him with the Young Bucks. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
Well, it was X-Lax he was getting mixed up. See,
Yeah, I know, but
Young Bucks is easy to remember. Nick's the high flyer with the bandana, and Matt has the black hair.
And then he has okay. So here's the thing. It's like one of those things where if you don't see the tag team or enough, even back when the Revival started off in NXT, I sometimes was like, wait, who's Dash and who's Dash Wilder and who's Wilson? Not because they look similar, because I hadn't seen them frequently enough that I wouldn't know who was who.
Okay, I can't be in these comments, bro. I'm sorry, yo. Benji just heard the part about that Canadian Destroyer. He said it was the AARP Destroyer. Yo, Benji, get the fuck out of our comments, man. Come on now.
Hey, no, let him lurk.
Oh my God,
I like to know that he's watching over us like a guardian angel.
He really
Making sure the
is,
podcast
man.
goes-
Jesus Christ, dude.
It's no, but going back to JR, I'd like to chime in. So I didn't really notice the commentary on Full Gear because I actually just tone that I just tone it out and I mute the audio sometimes because the only person that I like on there is Excalibur and even what's Ian Ricky what's the other guy? What's the other guy?
You know, I hate to say it, but JR and Excalibur are the only two people I pay attention to.
It was the other guy, the guy that was on WCW. I'm trying to blank on his name.
Oh, Tony Schiavone. Who are we talking about? Yeah, Tony Schiavone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Tony Schiavone does solid work. Excalibur is great because he's like a wrestling move encyclopedia.
And apparently real life badass choking out freaking.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think JR just doesn't add anything to like the broadcast. Like I noticed stuff like this when he was like doing like commentary for New Japan. I remember they were having a show on Access TV, and it was being live here in California or in Texas, I believe. And it was just complete terrible. Like he confused Will Ospreay with Marty Scurll. And he confused Ospreay with Zack Sabre Jr. He didn't know who was who. He kept confusing moves. He wasn't sure what the rules of the matches were. And then like a couple of weeks back, like he even like discredited the Lucha Libre, basically saying that there's no rules in it just because he didn't understand it. It's like going to like Vegas and trying to play blackjack and saying, oh, there's no rules in blackjack just because you don't understand blackjack. So that's my only hot take with JR is like, look, respect to everything you contributed to wrestling, but it's time to hang it up. Both him and Jerry
I
Lawler
disagree,
need to go
man.
away.
No. Jerry Lawler, yes. Or
they both of
or
them,
Jerry Lawler,
out
just
of here.
get Vince McMahon out of Jerry Lawler's ear, and then let me make my opinion then. Because I used to say get Michael Cole out of here, but then he had that time where he commentated over in NXT UK, and he was amazing.
Yeah, but that's because people forget that Michael Cole is a phenomenal announcer and commentator. People forget that he is really good. It's just that he has to sit there and plug like the network and commercials.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Get
sponsors.
Vince out of his ear, man.
Yeah, no. It's night and day with Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole. But man, going back to JR, man, he needs to go too. He needs to go too.
What about you, Seb?
Because what's his excuse? There's no Vince McMahon in his ear.
I was just going to say Michael Cole actually did some phenomenal work in the Mae Young Classic as well.
That's true.
Exactly.
But,
That is true.
I don't know.
What got me
I've
was
always
hearing
said
JR
JR
second guess himself. That's what I didn't like. Like, if he botched, like, the name of, like, because I remember at one point he botched the name, like, Tope Suicida. And he was like, back in my day, it was a suicide dive. And Excalibur was like, well, that's what it means in Spanish. And it was like, and it was just like so awkward.
Well,
Oh man.
Yeah.
Scorpion Deathlock too, and he also said the same thing, but he said back in my day it was a sharpshooter.
It was a sharpshooter.
But,
He said
Yeah.
something along the lines of like, oh, it's a sharpshooter, Scorpion Deathlock, whatever you want to call it. It's the same move. I'm like, okay, so you just didn't know what the fuck to call it. Just call it sharpshooter.
He did get Excalibur once though. I can't remember what he called the Alabama Slam, and JR is like, what did Bob Holly call that? And he's like, I don't know. You put me on the spot.
It's like Alabama Slam. It's just I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
He had a rough night. He really did.
Anyways, who didn't have a rough night was Pride and Powerful, man. So the
my
story
boys.
of this match was Nick Jackson, about midway through the match, kicked a ring post, injured his leg, sold the leg for the rest of the match. And it was just wonderful storytelling, man. Matt tagging him in. I really loved the point. Like, I really loved, how the heels normally like to isolate one of the tag team members. Well, after Matt was beat down, crawling back to his corner, Santana and Ortiz actually chose to not interfere and prevent the tag, and they encouraged him, yeah, go ahead, tag in your injured brother. And I loved that junk, man. It was really good. Pride and Powerful came away with the win. At the time, the rankings had Young Bucks in, because they released the tag rankings, which I'm actually totally into. But the Young Bucks were listed as ranked 3. You'd have to think that Santana and Ortiz just took their spot as the number 3 tag team. Probably, unless they get some major feud, they've got to be going into title picture sometime in the near future.
Oh yeah, they're the ones that are gonna take those titles off of FCU.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be Lucha Bros or have Lucha Bros win the inaugural titles, but given that it looks like they're building up LAX to be top tag team, they needed a top baby face to take those titles off of them. And right now, Lucha Bros haven't been like positioned as like babyface. They've been more like tweeners and like these like Mexican cult icons or something.
Yeah.
And it's like it's kind of hard because like you can say that they do heel tactics, but they're kind of tweeners, but they're baby faces because they get good reaction. So I think looking at it storyline wise, I think it makes sense. I mean, without spoiling like the title match, but it makes sense that SCU versus LAX would be the next tag team feud going forward.
Got you. Following this match, we had the rubber match between Pac and Hangman Page going on. This was more of like a feud, right? This ain't even going for like belts or nothing like that, man. This is just like a good old-fashioned blood feud between these two.
Which surprised me because I think this was Pac's first official singles loss in AEW.
They said these guys were 1-1 going into it.
Yeah,
though.
but I think the one match that he lost, I think, wasn't on his record because I saw his record and it was like 3-0. Like maybe it was a tag record or something because I know it was like a time limit draw in one of them, but I think it was undefeated if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he lost the tag match. He had Moxley as a partner, and Moxley walked out.
Yeah, Moxley walked out, and then he got his ass kicked. That's for sure. I remember that one. Yeah.
But in terms of singles competition, I think this was his first loss, which is very interesting to see, because I have a theory that Chris Jericho isn't gonna drop that title anytime soon until like maybe the earliest Double or Nothing 2, and Hangman Page is gonna be the second ever AEW World Champion.
Oh, hot take. Hangman Page?
Dude,
second champion?
I'm gonna put it like this. I'm gonna put it like this, Kyle. If you, me, and Sebastian start a wrestling promotion, and then we hire Benji to like be as like one of the top baby fases, I'm gonna put the title on Benji instead of
Benji could never be a mother trucking baby face. Okay, that dude. Benji is
the Latino community in the palm of his hands, man.
Oh man, I don't know.
I'm looking for the Latino demographic, man. He's gonna be our Eddie Guerrero. He's gonna be our Rey Mysterio,
he's a tweener at best. Benji's a tweener, but the dude, he ain't no baby face. What are you talking about, man?
Exactly. He could do heel tactics, but people will still cheer for him because he's so lovable.
Do you
I don't even know if he's still listening in or not, and I'm not trying to gas him up on purpose. I just use him as an example.
Right. Now, do you think Hangman Page is being pushed? Hot take here behind the scenes. You got SCU Young Bucks friends, first tag team champions. You know, Hangman Page, obviously part of Bullet Club Elite. He's in the first AEW championship match. Do we have a little bit of nepotism going on here?
Actually, I was having a conversation about SCU win the tag titles because we both wanted Lucha Bros to win. But he was saying that they did this so that SCU can have that in like their resume, say that they were AEW tag champions because they're not gonna get the titles back ever once they drop them. And it's it's a way to help build up Scorpio Sky because I see him as a future world champion. Scorpio Sky, I think. He's like
same
the
here.
Best here's the thing. I'm not like the biggest SCU fan. I thought like they peaked when they hit the "This is the worst town I ever been in" bit and being the elite. And after that, I'm not very invested in Christopher Daniels or Frankie Kazarian. I love Scorpio Sky to the moon and back. I think he's a stud. I think he's a future superstar, and they're gonna have this as like a resume, kind of like how you build up like a star. And he's gonna be a former tag champion, and this is just to give SCU be like, hey, you guys are our friends. We're gonna give you these tag titles now because going forward, you will not get anywhere near them because Christopher Daniels is eventually going to hang him up pretty soon within the next couple of years. And then Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky aren't going to stay a tag team because Scorpio Sky, like I've just said, is a single star. He's going to eventually be a single star within the year, and he's going to branch away, kind of like Kofi Kingston did with New Day. Not saying he's going to separate from SCU necessarily, but he's going to be that top guy between the three of them. And then that's a conversation me and Benji actually had, that he believed that they were going to get the tag titles, and that's why they won the tournament, because they're not going to ever get the tag titles back. Okay,
because the only thing that lingers in my mind about SCU is when will Scorpion Sky break free of it. They feel like the first faction / tag team that will break up and a single star will be born out of it. Kind of like, back in, Edge and Christian. Great, incredible tag team. Break up. Edge becomes one of the most decorated heavyweight champions in WWE history.
Just champion in general. I think he's held like almost every single title.
Yeah. But what I'm talking about, even with the top prize, man, isn't he like 10 plus titles or something like that? I can't remember.
I think he's like a 12 or 13 time champion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Maybe 11. He's in the double digits. He's one of the select few.
But anyways, Scorpio Sky kind of gives me like feelings like that too, man. Yeah. Is Scorpio Sky can turn heel. I don't see Kazarian and Daniels. Although Kazarian and Daniels just look like heels, and Sky looks like a face. So you could have them turn on him, and then he overcomes them and becomes champ. But yeah, SCU does really feel like it's going to dissolve, and Scorpio Sky will become a star out of it. I agree with you, man. Yeah, maybe SCU. This is the only time they'll get those championships, and they'll be able to always say they're the first ever, man, first ever.
Yeah, so I'm not taking credit for that. That's full all on Benji. Like, we legit had that conversation. He opened my eyes to that topic, and I want to bring it on here. Be his advocate for the show, and just talk out that point, because I thought it was a very fascinating point that no one has been bringing up. But going back to Adam Page, I think Scorpio Sky, MJF, and Adam Page are three future studs that they're going to slowly build up, kind of like when WWE had Randy Orton, Batista, John Cena, Brock Lesnar slowly move up the ranks.
Yeah,
they're going to build up their four core guys, and then go from there. That's why I think Adam Page won today. So, last night, so that he can slowly ascend up the ranks in AEW, and this time in Double or Nothing 2 against Chris Jericho, he redeems himself and beats Jericho for that title.
Man, just, I've never actually had to sit down and ask myself who's going to take the belt off Jericho.
Yeah, because it's an interesting question, because you have so many candidates. It is such a weird
one, yeah.
But yeah,
no, it's true, man.
Overall, going back, touching back up on the Pac versus Page match, I don't think it was anything too special, nothing too crazy that they haven't done in previous matches. That's what sucks, is they are so good consistently and it's like, oh, nothing too new, just like some of the best wrestling you'll ever see. It's like they're so good it gets downplayed because they're consistently so great, man. Like they were very, very good. I liked that Paige was the powerhouse. Like, Pac would try to outmuscle Paige in the beginning of the match, and Paige just like, he would throw Pac around. That was nice to see. But yeah, Paige came away with the win, which surprised a lot of people. I'm not mad at it. Pac's one of the best wrestlers on the planet, man. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine, and they're not doing any like Asuka undefeated streak with anyone here in AEW, which is what I kind of like. He can come back from that loss, Pac can, and he'll be just fine. I don't think he's gonna get anywhere near the title, given that he's like a really good heel and the top champion right now is a heel. So even though they're a different company, it's still like the standard wrestling trope. You need a babyface to go up against that dastardly heel, and Jericho right now is one of the best. And Hangman Page, they just got to build him up. I'm not fully invested in Adam Page right now, because I feel like he's in that mold of babyface that hasn't like really found his niche, his character just yet. Like, he still seems like very bland, kind of boring character-wise, that I'm not invested enough in his matches, even though I know once the match starts, I'm fully in it, and I'm watching him from start to finish.
Who you stand for, Sebastian? Quiet over there. Some people are thinking this is a two-man show here in the comments.
I didn't want to cut nobody out.
No, you need to, man.
No, I'm kind of like Vince.
Get the hot tag, Sebastian.
Yeah, just tagged you
I'm
in.
kind of like Vince. Hangman, to me, I mean, he's a great wrestler, and every time he steps in the ring, I expect good things. But as far as like just kind of stale to me.
Stale.
And I think it's some of just after he lost against Jericho for a few weeks, they just didn't play him up again until here the last couple of weeks. So maybe that's why. I feel like it's some of the problem with a lot of AEW right now is they just didn't build a lot of people up over in a couple key matches, like the women's matches. They just got announced 5 days before the show. So,
Oh, that's
I
a
don't know.
big topic right there.
Hey, man, shout out.
People have been criticizing the women's the how
Shout
they've
out
been
to
booking and building
IFE
women's
on the
division.
mic in the comments, who is the second person to drop live that you are AJ Styles. IFE, if you weren't there, AJ, IFE, man, every time we introduce the show, Sebastian is the AJ Styles of podcasting.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
buddy.
am phenomenal.
Hey, are you a flat earther, Sebastian?
No, I'm not that far.
Okay.
Just in voice and nothing else.
Oh my God. Let's give.
I'm still phenomenal. Just not flat earth.
Hey, let's get on to the first hot take of the night. Apparently, you guys got some hot takes on this next match coming up. Of course, if we didn't already reveal it,
People are gonna hate me.
Pac defeats Hangman Page.
No. Hangman Page defeated Pac.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, that would have been terrible. But up next, we have Joey Janela, bad boy Joey Janela, taking on Shawn Spears. If you watched AEW Dark, you saw one of the most intense segments I've ever seen in wrestling, where Tully Blanchard and Shawn Spears attempt to rip out Joey Janela's tongue using pliers and put his cigarette out in his mouth. God, it was brutal, dude. It was like some mafia stuff, man. But anyways,
Loved it.
Joey Janela, man, can go out there and just hurt. Like the man gets through a beating and somehow comes out in a really, in my opinion, decent wrestling match. But I'm gonna leave it up to you guys here. Talk us through this one.
Okay, so overall in this match, I wasn't fully engaged because I knew 100%. If I had to put all my confidence in one single match, it would be this one. I knew Shawn Spears was walking away with the win. He lost to Jon Moxley, and he lost to Cody. He needed a big win to solidify himself as a top act in AEW, or else he's just going to be that kind of like the Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe of AEW, where you come in there, you talk a big game, but then you lose and come up short every single time down there. And given the fact that he was facing against Joey Janela, okay, here's where people are going to hate me. And I'm fully okay with taking the criticism. I think as of right now, it can obviously change, but right now Joey Janela is the Dolph Ziggler of AEW. He goes in there, puts on great matches, takes a beating, great talent, but always loses. Will always get to a certain point, and he's there to put over other guys. I don't think he's won a single feud or he's done anything won a big match or anything like that. He's lost that triple threat match that he had with Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc, and then he lost to Moxley. He lost to Omega, so it's like now he lost to Shawn Spears. It's like he's slowly. Exactly. So he's lowering down in the pecking order of AEW as a guy that can come in there. And even the guys that going to Raw, Steven Larson, they basically said he's like the jobber to the stars of AEW. And that's who he is right now. And nothing against Joey, just because I think Joey's great. I really like Joey. I love his character. Think he's phenomenal in the ring. I thought his Cracker Barrel match with Hangman Page All In was very, very good and one of the best matches of the entire card. But right now, Joey Janela, I see him. Oh, he's going to take the L.
Yep. And, I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. If you're going to have a sports like and records matter, when are you going to bring somebody from the bench and Joey Janela take a break? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm with you. I brought this up weeks ago. As far as the match goes, this is probably the least interesting match to me going in. If I had to pick one match to take off the card, it would have been this. But
I can see that.
They had some decent stuff. The power slam on the outside was nice.
Tully Blanchard shows, man, he is still deadly around that ring, man. He is an asset, dude.
He is. He really is.
The backbreaker on top of the turnbuckle was probably my favorite spot of the match. Don't really see that often, so they had some interesting stuff in here. But yeah, if I had to pick one thing to take off, it'd probably been this.
Yeah. Shawn Spears ended up going over after an assisted pile driver, which for our YouTube crowd, you can go ahead and see right here in the still shot. Tully Blanchard leaping off the stairs with the assisted pile driver. Shawn Spears gets Janela in with his patented running Death Valley driver. He gets the pin for the 1, 2, 3. Nothing really came after the match, right? That was just it. It was done.
No, was actually something interesting. We might have something for Joey Janela here.
Yeah, go ahead. Because remember, like at this point, I still haven't gotten home, and it's kind of playing on my phone while I'm driving. Which, to our viewers, please don't watch wrestling while you drive. I really have no way to defend myself in this one, but so just saying, I don't endorse my bad habits.
But Kip was backstage and had an interview, and his new valet was reviewed, and it was Penelope Ford, Janela's old real life girlfriend. And there was a line at the end. She said, "Why be bad when you can be super bad?" Obviously playing off Janela being the bad boy. So I expect something between them two.
Nice.
Sweet.
Coming up next, we had listen now. Tag team championship match. You've got the Lucha Bros taking on SCU, taking on Private Party, and dude, this match was crazy off the walls. Had a nice closing angle for our YouTube fans. You're already seeing kind of the spoilers here, but this match was really good. But I felt like this was the easiest to predict match. Not to contradict you intentionally, Vince.
That's fine. That's what this podcast is all about.
But I mean, Sean Spears is a jobber. He's a glorified jobber. He's a jobber with a manager. Okay, like listen now. The second it was like it's SCU, it's Lucha Bros, it's Private Party. It's like Private Party's eating that pin. Like, you knew it, man. Come on. Wrestling logic just overtakes right here, man.
But here's the thing. Okay, so maybe it's just me being a little naive and being blind to my overly the top fandom for the Lucha Bros.
Hey, it's not maybe. It's definitely. Like, you trying to blind your ass because it's...
Okay, so look. Going into this match, given the conversation that the topic we talked about earlier in the conversation I had with Benji, it wouldn't have surprised me if they just won the inaugural tournament and then they dropped the titles, given that Scorpio Sky and freaking Kazarian aren't the normal tag team duo of the bunch, of the trio of SCU. It's usually Daniels and Kazarian that they're the tag team duo, the one they've been doing it for.
Dude, we've been watching wrestling for how long? How long have we been watching pro wrestling? Come on, man.
I'm just saying.
Dude.
I thought they were going to play that storyline up and then have either Private Party or Lucha Bros pick up the win and
Private Party? Listen, no offense to Mark Quinn and Isaiah Thomas, okay? You guys are awesome and you can hit hurricanranas out of anywhere. All right? But it's like, no, man, no. You ain't going to have Private Party go over our Lucha Bros?
Okay, so look, again, also too, it's not only that I really like both tag teams, but I really just am not invested or entertained or care whatsoever about SCU whatsoever.
There it is. Vince doesn't like SCU.
I don't like SCU. Okay, look, it's not like some big revelation. It's not like you found out breaking news. Vince doesn't like SCU. I tweeted during the pay-per-view when they won the match. I tweeted Scorpio Sky is the only one that matters in SCU. I tweeted that. It's well known. I only care about Scorpio Sky, and that's about it. The one thing that Christopher Daniels did in his entire wrestling career that he had me entertained with was when he did the exorcism of Cody Rhodes, when he had the money shakes and the Being the Elite video, like the storyline where Cody had the money shakes where he might have signed with WWE or whatever, and he actually went back to the Fallen Angel thing and he actually did an exorcism on Cody Rhodes. It was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen, and that was the only thing I've ever cared about Christopher Daniels.
Man, a YouTube skit, the disrespect. Okay, listen now, man, listen.
He's a great wrestler.
Yeah, but it's
Both him and
look.
Kazarian are great. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying I don't care about them.
Oh, you are saying they're bad. Let it go. That Vince said they're bad wrestlers. They're garbage wrestlers. Let it go on record.
You're misconstruing my words. Going back to this match, SCU did win. It was a great trios tag match.
Who got pinned? Who got pinned? Private Party got pinned. Okay, like come on, man. Like,
I was actually kind of let down for this match.
Okay, so then, what did you guys think of the closing angle where like we had? Okay, this is what pissed me off about JR. I really noticed this, where like Penta, like there's like a second Pentagon Junior. There's only 2 Pentagon Juniors, but JR keeps saying that's Penta Tres, insinuating that there's 3 Pentagon Juniors.
Chris Jericho dressed up as Pentagon Junior. He referenced it.
No. But he was implying that Phoenix and Penta were like the 2 same masked wrestlers, and there was a 3rd masked wrestler named Penta. That's what he was implying.
Oh, I took that as Chris Jericho dressed up as Pentagon Junior, and now Christopher Daniels would be Trace.
Okay, so that would make sense, except he kept saying there's 3 Pentas, like basically saying there was 3 Pentas in the ring at that.
Oh no, I don't know.
So I don't know, unless I misheard it. That's how I took it. Maybe you're right, Kyle. But if that's how he said it, screw you, JR.
There ain't no maybe. Come on now.
Okay. Overall, the angle, I didn't like it. I didn't like the revelation of like
yeah. So I'm gonna give it this. Christopher Daniels was off TV for all of like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, and the whole teaser that it was someone dressed up as Pentagon. You were kind of for a moment there fooled into thinking we're having a big debut, like a new wrestler is debuting for the company. And granted, it's nice, you know, it makes sense. Christopher Daniels is getting his revenge for getting jumped in the beginning of the tag team tournament. But yeah, it was kind of like not the best payoff for who it was. No. But it makes sense. I mean, it's going to drive the story forward. We're going to have the Lucha Bros taking on SCU. The Lucha Bros are going to have to recruit a 3rd member. That's the most interesting thing here. Who will be Lucha Bros' 3rd member to take on the SCU in this 3v3 feud?
I thought that, this made Pentagon look like just an idiot. Like,
he did the whole mirror thing. He did the whole mirror thing.
Yeah, no, he did too.
Like, okay, look, okay. Going back to the whole, like the Daniels getting revenge makes 1,000% sense. The one thing that I will sit here and will not condone is him dressing up as Penta. Just come out and attack them, or come out in a hoodie.
Yeah, well, kayfabe. What's the logic? What's the logic? Kayfabe.
I don't know.
Pentagon's an idiot.
Well, for one, he had to predict that the Lucha Bros are going to be standing tall at the end of the ring, running roughshod.
That's a lot of ifs.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay,
there's no logic.
Kayfabe, Christopher Daniels was backstage just chilling, was probably going to return Wednesday, and he seen this shit going on. He's like, I gotta stop it. That's kayfabe.
So he like did the whole, like, he just happened to have like an alternate Pentagon costume and face paint.
Dude, no, he hit up Chris Jericho. That's all he did. He just went to Chris Jericho. He's like, hey, man, do you still have that Pentagon costume? No. Chris Jericho's like, yeah, man, I keep it next to the bubbly. And he just, like, gave it to him.
That was terrible. That was Garbaggio. Out of here.
Garbaggio.
No. I don't approve it. I think it was so dumb. Had it been a reveal of a new debuting superstar, it would have made sense. But since it was just Daniels, why are you dressing up as Penta? Here's the thing: Jericho did it. He did it better than he did. And if you keep doing stuff like that, it's gonna lose its meaning. Just like AEW's done it a couple times, where just like they do, like the Undertaker lights go out and then someone shows up. I hate doing that because unless you have unless it's been confirmed that you have teleporting powers or you have friends in the production truck, you should not be able to turn off the lights willy nilly.
Colin Byrne in our chat says they need to find a new way to reveal someone besides turning the lights out and having them magically appear in the ring. Yeah, it's been done to death, man.
That's what I legit just finished saying. Thank you. We are on the same page. Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one that just gets bugged by that. Why don't you do the CM Punk thing where he returned after John Cena won the title? They just play a new theme song. You're like, wait, who is that? And then you see the name flash on the screen, and they make a big ovation. That's how CM Punk returned. That's with AEW right now. You don't know a person's theme song, so you just hear it. I'm like, wait, who could this be? Kind of like AJ Styles when he debuted. new debut, Royal Rumble music just played. Nobody knew that was his theme song. Nobody knew it was him until I Am
dude.
Phenomenal.
We'll have to save like legendary debuts for another show. Let's push this through, but I totally agree with you. No, Vince. Like I completely agree. This is something that we do need to tackle. But following, I do want to get into this next match, which I had the lowest bar for like expectations, and man, they blew me away. And that it was Rio taking on Emi Sakura. This match was good for like 2/3, and then all of a sudden was incredible. Like I loved it, man. I loved the storytelling of this. I loved Sakura coming out as Freddie Mercury. Like, dude, it's a chick coming out with a mustache on. Come on, dude. That's so... It's different, man. It's different. And then the storytelling between them, man, and not to mention the chain wrestling. These chicks, like, I don't know if you noticed on the entire show, they had the fastest paced chain wrestling reversals out of any other match I saw all night.
Yeah, Yoshi wrestling is really great. I freaking love it. Even
Was
if you don't know,
insane.
Even though you don't know like the competitors, like it's always just a really fun match. Like at Double or Nothing, that tag match was really, really good. I enjoyed it. And then what I really liked about this, they played up. Here's the thing: it didn't have a story too much on TV. They tried their darndest to try to go ahead and build up a story on Twitter. But again, this is one of those things where like AEW is doing it. They're like, oh, they don't the apologists will be like, oh, I didn't have enough time to build up a story. Give them more time. They'll get there to build up the women. But then WWE tries to build a story on Twitter, and you guys just completely crucify them. It's like it's either okay on both ends or it's not okay. And here's the thing: they could have had a great story here, and they did their best because I knew the basis of the story was that Emi Sakura was the former mentor of Rio
trainer.
And now she's trainer. So it's a master student pupil dynamic, which I really like. I always think that even though it's been done to death, it's still a really nice story to harpen back to, which I really like. And it was just basically Rio proving that she was better than the master. This really, to me, just felt like Kate Goku finally being able to be Master Roshi. To me, that's what I felt like.
Little Dragon Ball Z plug for you nerds. No. A wrestling fan calling someone else nerds is a joke in itself, but still.
Overall, I loved the match. I thought it was great.
Man, yeah.
You want to know how much history was in this match?
Yeah, go ahead. Let me know, man. Run us down.
Here's the thing that makes me mad. Kenny Omega is in charge of this women's division. He's pretty much the booker. That's well known. And instead of building this up on TV, the day before the show, he tweets. Oh, no, it was the same day. Later tonight, a matchup with 13 years of history will decide the AEW Women's Championship. 268 matches, 32 singles matches. Overall, Sakura holds 17 wins, Rio holds 15. Title match record 3-3. Why not say that on your TV show?
They did. Well, they did on the pay-per-view.
Why not build it up weekly?
Yeah, weekly we didn't. We got a really lackluster build. Now, when they shared the ring, I think on 2 occasions in between tag matches and stuff, they did build that up. Like I knew full on going into this match, there was years of history. I didn't know of any legendary feuds. I didn't know of the title match history. Nothing. I just knew that you had mentor and student, and you had over 10 years of history between them. AEW did get that across on their weekly television of Dynamite. They did get that. They just didn't give it a dramatic build. They didn't give it a crazy video package. I think they had a good video package during the kickoff show, but once again, like I said, I had some guy at my job giving me his life story. We'll not get into that, but I just remember hearing
conversation to have with drunk Kyle.
Listen now. But
hey, for those of you that may not know, drunk Kyle is a joy to talk to. I'm just saying that right now.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God. Anyways, thank you. You have me blushing over here, Vince. Thank you.
Stop. I gotta gas up the crew. So if I don't do it, who will?
Who will? But no. They did build it. Sebastian, I get what you're saying though. I get what you're saying. They should have built it more, considering it was the, I guess you would call it the co-main event, since the lights out match doesn't count as a main event. Yeah, so they really should have given it.
It's just, I just feel like the women's division is struggling in a lot of ways.
I think it's struggling, but I think it's coming along. I think
Yeah,
it is. I
they
think it
just
is.
recently
It's
signed Big Swole.
improving.
That's a big addition.
Yeah, they are.
That's-
I mean, they're making additions. I just feel like on a weekly TV that it doesn't get the spotlight that they probably should give it.
You're right.
I feel like it feels like a light version of when like Bailey or / Asuka were like barely like saving the women's division in NXT after like a bunch of call-ups, because the first time around Bailey was champion and then 3 of the 4 horsewomen got called up, and then Asuka was champion, and then I think there was also like a big number of call-ups like Riot Squad, Fire and Desire, and I can't remember, maybe even like Alexa Bliss and like Carmella were all like brought up like within a year of each other, and like Asuka was barely trying to like survive and save that women's division. So it was just one of those things where right now it feels it's there's no call-ups here, but since it's a new brand, a new division, you're trying to introduce new faces. Right now it just legit feels like Rio. Right now it's like the one thing in the women's division that's being like heavily highlighted right now, and everyone else is just slowly being like sprinkled in. But it obviously is going to need a little bit more time. I will give them some patience, but I'm not going to sit here and like be like, oh, they'll get there. No, I'm gonna
Keep us moving. Yeah, let's keep the stories coming.
Keep them moving. They're just not moving at a faster pace. I think a big hit for them too was, I think Kylie Ray was supposed to be a big fixture in their women's division, and obviously that just fell through. So obviously Kylie Ray is there, like obviously she might be like a big name in there. Right now they just don't have any big names. Yes, they have Awesome Kong, they have Bea Priestley, they have Britt Baker, but like there's no like high level talent like a Tessa Blanchard or like Sasha Banks.
Dude,
or
I
Becky
really,
Lynch.
yeah, man, I really want to get behind Tessa Blanchard. I really need to watch her stuff. I know she's making big moves.
And the thing
She's
is,
challenging for the world title, Kyle. Like, you want to talk women's division? Impact Wrestling is like the crown jewel of like, you want.
Hey, hold on. We totally just no sold Sebastian's comments. Hold on, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
It's because you mentioned Tessa Blanchard.
I know.
Tessa Blanchard I kind of got carried away. Go ahead, Sebastian. Sorry.
I understand that they're making additions and all this, but there's more ways you can do it just to ring. Like I would just like to see a video package or two for a big swole or one of the new additions.
We have Brandy Rhodes doing voodoo.
Stop it.
Come on, man. Like, come on, dude.
If she was really good on voodoo, we would have a title change later tonight. I'm just saying.
Hey, speaking of which, man, let's get moving. Yes, the women's division needs some work. I don't think they're dead in the water. Okay, like some of the people are claiming, they're just slowly building momentum. We want them there now, but luckily, AEW has great matches like Cody Rhodes taking on Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship to kind of keep us full, while other areas are slowly improving themselves.
You could kind of say when this match started, they picked it up a gear.
Fucking hate you, man, dude. Like, I hate you.
You had to drop a dad joke.
Listen, hey, live viewers, please don't leave. Please don't leave. Listen now. Listen. Keep the comment section rolling.
About this match, just because I wasn't really paying attention to like the rules, because I was watching this half at work and then catching up like after work, like the snippets of it.
Yeah.
I saw at one point Cody Rhodes was getting whipped with the belts or something.
Yes.
Isn't there DQ? Why was that now DQ?
So they had to.
DQs do not exist in AEW.
Yeah. So they said, it's up to the referee's discretion. Does the referee throw the match out, and potentially give the champion the easy way out? Yeah.
That's so dumb.
And it's not even just title matches. It's not even just title matches. Omega and Moxley picked up during a 3-on-3 match. Moxley took Omega out, put him through a glass table, and there's no disqualification. So, yeah.
A man interfered. There is okay. You know what? This isn't us like trashing on the rules. I was just curious as to whether they said it was because I remember like he was hitting him with the belts, and I'm like, wait, is it a no DQ title match? And then I heard JR saying, well, like Jericho needs to be careful or else he's gonna get disqualified. I'm like, wait, hold up. How does he need to be? Wait, so if he brings out a chainsaw, that's too much, but a belt's perfectly okay? Like. It's just like maybe I'm just like conditioned with the WWE style of things. I don't know. Even Impact Wrestling, WCW, like just set a foundation, a fine rule of what is a DQ, what isn't a DQ. I don't like the whole ref's discretion stuff. That was the only thing that bugged me about the match. Other than that, everything from top to bottom, the finish, the start, the entrance that Cody had, great, phenomenal.
Cody's mom.
All of it. Cody's mom was the MVP of that match.
Oh, Cody's mom, bro.
And for me, Vince, and Kyle can tell you, I've said this every week, if you're going to have these records matter and actually come out with top 5 rankings, I don't think interference should cost somebody a spot in the rankings. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Listen, man, listen.
Why don't Chris Jericho go out and like attack everybody, one of his contenders, and make them lose, and he never has to defend his title? Okay?
It's a lot of work, man. He needs to be able to like. It's a lot of work for a guy who's just trying to chill and drink a little bit of the bubbly.
Well, he has a whole inner circle to send out there. I mean,
he does.
He did put in a lot of work in this match, man. Because he just beat the crap out of Cody.
Dude, he did. I'm going online like. I effing love Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho, everybody involved in this match. Jake Hager, who would have thought 2019 Jake Hager would be such a pivotal character? And don't deny it now. They're using him correctly. They're using him correct. It's just like a season. You know what I mean? The season isn't the whole meal. You just sprinkle it on the meal, and it makes the meal that much better. That's Jake Hager. They're just using him in light doses. They're using him correctly. They're making him a badass, but making him funny. Like, they're just... man, like, from a creative standpoint, I could gush over this. But I'm not here to gush. So, this match was...
If Jake Hager's the seasoning of the match, would you say that MJF was the afterburn of the match?
The afterburn.
The heartburn.
The heartburn. He was the heartburn. Oh, what a segue. So Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes busts himself up early in the match, diving over the ropes, landing on the WCW ramp, busting his forehead open. Nasty gash. I think he said he got like 17 stitches, something like that. I don't know. Eight, 17. Come on, man. Listen, it's wrestling.
Who even does math?
Big Show was 500 pounds. Listen, man, wrestling logic, okay? Anyways, though, after the match, oh my God, dude. So Chris Jericho has got Cody Rhodes. The walls of Jericho are not working. So we go back to the Lion Tamer. Dude, Chris starts stomping on Cody's head, man. Starts stomping on his head. And even I was beside myself watching that at that point. He leans down in the Lion Tamer, torques Cody. Terrible. MJF freaking out, man. He's been teasing that belt. The crowd, by the way, this is one of the understatements that got overlooked. The crowd was at their peak of investment. That crowd was hot. They were screaming, yelling. They were their loudest. They were just at the climax of the match when MJF threw that towel in. That was perfect timing. I see people pooing on the finish, comparing it to, No, I'll touch on it. But comparing it to us getting mad at WWE for the non-finish in Hell in the Cell, but praising the AEW towel throw-in. And
Can I take it from here?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Hell in a Cell is no DQ. Okay, we've seen people throw in towels, and trust me, I'm the biggest keep the same energy guy they are. But comparing this is just dumb. Okay, there's no way around it. Hell in a Cell was terrible. It left a sour taste. This made sense story-wise. It led to things, unlike Hell in a Cell. I mean, just
Look at the match quality. Compare the match quality, too. We didn't get
Not
like
only
16 damn stomps with like toolboxes and stuff. We got a damn good match going into it. Like,
I mean,
Not only that, but Cody Rhodes didn't just like immediately just get up and no sell the punishment afterwards.
Jesus.
So it's like,
and
look,
they didn't.
I'm gonna
Shame on you,
I'm gonna go
Twitter.
Hell in a Cell.
Shame on you.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I didn't dislike either of the finishes. Maybe
I hated Hell in a Cell.
Yo, okay, hold on,
no,
folks.
I didn't hate it.
Hold on, wait. I'm gonna take care of Vince right now. Hey, Vince. There we go. All right, so cool. It's just me and you, Sebastian, now.
Okay,
There we go.
cool. Yeah. Hell in a Cell was
No, I'm not gonna leave Vince muted.
no, but look, honestly, it's like I didn't say it was the best finish. I just said I didn't hate it like everybody did.
You don't
But
stop
going
at
back
Hell in a
into
Cell.
this,
Let's talk
Going
about
back into-
a good match. Let's talk about Cody and Chris
this match
Jericho.
was great. I saw the kind of the throwing in the towel thing coming because they panned out and you can see MJF had a white towel in his hand and in the middle of the Lion Tamer spot, and I'm like, he's gonna throw in the towel, and then legit like 10-15 seconds later he throws in the towel and they call the match. I thought it was great. I loved how afterwards, like, he was very apologetic and commentary talked up the point where
Dude,
like,
he was
there
crying. He was damn near crying in the ring.
Yeah, and commentary talked up the point
Well-
that how that might have been
Well,
like, the hardest decision of his life.
Let's put over the story first. Like, let's lay the scene. MJF tosses in the towel, right? Chris Jericho wins. Chris Jericho frolics off to the ramp. Inner Circle comes out. They celebrate. Chris is hoisted up on some shoulders, drinking a little bit of the bubbly, and just being obnoxious heel faction. You have MJF in the ring, dude, distraught, on his knees, pleading with Cody Rhodes, who is just now coming to from all of this, because Cody Rhodes arguably was passed out from the Lion Tamer, and MJF broken up, crowd turning on MJF, saying, "You effed up." He's damn near crying in the ring, pleading. Cody Rhodes rightfully pissed, marching around the ring like anybody would. Cody Rhodes, he's not getting another title shot after this. He's not. That's it for him.
He is.
And that's
He
another
is. He's
thing.
so.
I'm listen, man. I'm
It's gonna be a long
storytelling. I'm storytelling now, folks.
Okay. Before we get into what happened after Cody came to and forgave MJF, I thought it was in a great way because I knew the minute that he said, "I will never get a chance for the title ever again." There's two ways out of it. A, he gets screwed out and he doesn't technically lose, and then the fans and his friends and whatnot can make a storyline about how he deserves to be champion. He'll get in there reluctantly, a la he never wanted to be ECW champion. Or two, he can take the corporate, the heel corporate guy route and decide, I'm just gonna give myself a title match if he decides to turn heel down the line. So that's one way you can write yourself out of that. So that's why going into this, I knew Jericho was gonna win.
Yeah.
But yeah, go back to we'll go back
But
to the closing.
anyways, yeah. So Cody Rhodes is distraught, is walking through the ring, pissed off. Eventually, a dude can only stare at his friend groveling for so long. Not only his friend, his student, his protege. He picks him up. He says, "Hey, man." He puts his hand on his shoulder and he gets kicked in the dick. All right, listen. MJF turns proper heel. Completely, crowd goes nuts. It's a heel turn we all saw coming a mile away, but yet somehow we're still surprised. MJF makes his way up the ramp. Crowd
It wasn't a normal turn.
getting the loudest boos of the whole night that you were going to hear. Still can't tell. When he got to the top of the ramp, someone threw what they called beer, but it was pretty much a full glass of water on him. Can't tell if that was a plant or not. My gut tells me it's a plant. Yeah, I believe it's a plant.
I heard online. I heard a lot of people online. I mean, obviously, I don't have any sources. I'm
It
no,
visually
insider.
looked perfect, though. Like it definitely was not obvious on one spectrum or the other, and from a visual standpoint, just added to it. And there's some other stuff in the match following that I love that they did that was not obvious whether or not it was intentional or not, and it really adds to it. And I'll elaborate on that soon. But anyways,
Go ahead.
yeah, MJF turns on Cody. We're gonna get a feud. Cody Rhodes, MJF, awesome. Has nothing to do with the title. It's still gonna be very meaningful. Cody gets to still be a big star. Awesome. Now, to play on what you were saying, Vince. Cody could do two things. He could take the heel route, use his authority to give him a title shot down the road, or as a face, I heard. It could be that he puts his executive title on the line versus a title shot if he wanted to stay face in a title shot. So it could be that, like, he gets in a feud with a champion. He's like, no, I can't vie for the belt. I made that agreement. And they were like, well, how about
world title? They've been talking about incorporating a second singles title.
Yeah.
Even though it's... Oh my God. We won't go into it.
It's not a mid-card title, but it's for people coming through the rank. Oh my God.
Yeah. Listen to you in the chat, Boom Vroom. I totally agree with you. No authority angles. I get it. I'm saying
no. Yeah,
it's low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? Like it is whack. But hey, look, man, it might happen. Who knows? Anyways.
I think he's going to get a title shot. Obviously, I don't think he's never going to get one, but I think it's going to be a long-term thing.
Yeah, no. Now Cody, he's got feuds he can chew on.
Yeah, he's got MJF coming right there immediately. He could always set something up with anyone else and help elevate other people, and he doesn't have to focus on the title. And I know a lot of people were giving him like a hard time because he put himself in a title match, given that he was the top executive.
They addressed it perfectly, dude. That promo he touched. Perfect. Yeah, that's
probably the promo of the year almost.
It's up there, man. It's up there.
Yeah, and it was great because you do this angle, this stipulation, and it gets people to shut up about him. You
wrestling fans on Twitter, shut the F up, man. Just let stuff go sometimes.
Just let the story develop. See where it goes.
And sometimes when you shut the F up and you watch a match, you're gifted with matches like Mox versus Omega. And god damn it, man. Okay, so we've already killed an hour and 11 minutes, and I'm positive we could kill another hour and 11 minutes just talking about this match.
Yeah.
Best hardcore match of 2019, right?
That I've seen, yes.
Yeah.
In 2019 in general, I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of hardcore matches. Maybe it's I'm getting like weaker with my older age, even though I'm only 27.
Jesus
But
Christ.
I don't have that same bloodlust that I used to have as a teen. So like back then, I was all about blood, barbed wire, thumbtacks, light tubes, tables.
I'm still about the thumbtacks now.
The glass shard spot was beautiful. I loved it.
So let's. I
freaking loved it.
I have an idea for how to talk about this because there's no way we can talk about this spot for spot and do the match justice. You guys, if you haven't seen the match, go watch it. The lights out match, Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, they tore the house down. It was simply amazing. I'm not going to overhype it. I'm just telling you, it is literally one of the best matches I've seen all year long. A couple things I want to touch on. We'll attack it from a different way. Listen, hear me out. So first off, this match had incredible spots, and then it had some other questionable spots. We got the barbed wire bat, the barbed wire mop. We got a new innovative spot. I don't think any of us expected to see a board laid with mouse traps. That was new.
It's probably been done. We just never seen it. It's just been exposed to us for the first time.
So we got Kenny Omega showing how we can chain wrestle in hardcore matches by breaking out a literal chain.
Jon Moxley, bro.
Well, shut the up, man. Come on now. Listen.
Just trying to get through the segment.
I'm just trying to get through the segment because listen, man, we can't go spot for spot too much. We did get the over the top barbed wire platform trampoline type spot. We had set pieces going through, and then ultimately we had John Moxley exposing the ring, doing some stuff on straight wood, and I think we saw Kenny Omega get busted open the hard way, by the way, in that Phoenix Splash. That cut over the right eyebrow really looked like that may have resulted in that failed Phoenix Splash. But a couple things here, man, that were nice touches. First, I got to ask you, man. They faked the blood. They faked the blood, right? They did.
I didn't notice. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, they faked it.
That's a good thing.
No, yeah, exactly. So you didn't notice. I watched the match twice in the same night. It was the second go around I realized the initial spots with the barbed wire bat and the barbed wire broom, that was total ref applying the blood. And then I hate to say it, man. I hate to say it because this match, dude, I'm totally... Okay, listen now. If you haven't seen the match and you're listening to us to spoil it, one, what the hell's wrong with you? Two, turn this off and wait for us. But the glass, I don't think glass was real either. Just going back, man.
It could have been like those breakaway glass bottles.
I think so, man. I think so. But these guys knew how to sell the match. They knew how to sell it.
If you're one of them people, and I'm not, I can't stand the guy, and you live by Dave Meltzer's word as the gospel, the glass was real.
The glass was real.
According to Dave Meltzer.
According to Meltzer,
Okay,
who might be on the payroll.
He is on the payroll.
He might be. He might be, man. He might
is
be.
on that payroll.
Okay, so obviously Moxley won. Did you guys both expect Moxley to win? Because I know
I did.
You were trying to get us to like bet $5 in the group chat when I'm like, no, dude, Moxley's obviously gonna win.
No, yeah, absolutely, man. I was like, y'all got the cash app, bro. Let's go ahead and put some money on this junk.
Because here's the thing, the guys that's going to Raw, Steven Larson, not to bring them up again and give them a cheap plug, but they did bring up the fair point that if like Moxley wants to get like actual sanctioned matches that count towards the record, and if he loses this match with Kenny Omega, what claim would he have to get an actual sanctioned match? He beats Kenny Omega in this unsanctioned match. He can go to Tony Khan or whoever is running like the matches or whatever and be like, hey, look, I beat Kenny Omega, one of your top stars, like the AAA like heavyweight champion. Give me a sanctioned match. You know, and that's one way to go about it, and it furthers his whole story. I like it. I think
he's had sanctioned matches. It ain't like they won't give him one.
No, I meant like recently.
Yeah.
Like recently, there's been a story point that they don't want to give
They
him
just can't sanction him. Yeah.
Well,
Listen.
his draw against Pac was only 2 weeks ago.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Either way,
this match was great, man. It was a cringe fest. It was something that was like you wanted to look away, and it was wonderful, man. It was wonderful. It was the whole shebang, what they were calling the glorious violence, everything about it. It was great, man. I didn't really have much criticism. So we got some people that thought maybe it was a little too long. At that point, it really just comes down to taste. It really does, man. I can't argue with you. I'm not going to say you were right because you know what? I enjoyed it. Like for me, I enjoyed the match from start to finish. I thought the build was nice. I got really invested in the spots. I just hate the fact that I've become so jaded to wrestling that I was trying to be like, okay, what's legitimate and what are they cutting corners on so they don't permanently hurt themselves? You know what I mean?
See, here's the thing. I do that like maybe like the second or third time watching the match. The first time I'm like full geek super fan mode in a match, and then afterwards I'm like, okay, let me see if I can pick apart the fake stuff. Kind of like when you go and watch a movie, you watch it the first time, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna sit here and analyze things.
Yeah.
The second time around, that's like I get where you're coming from, but I don't think it's necessarily a jaded thing. I think it's more of a like here's the thing.
You're just curious. You're curious to the art of it.
There's nothing wrong with it. I hate the concept, and like, granted, I'm not a wrestler, so I can't speak on that. But I hate the whole concept of like wrestlers wanting fans to just be fans and not know the ins and outs of wrestling. It's not because we want to be some kind of insider or nerds. It's because we love this sport so much that we want to know the ins and outs of it.
You want
see
more
what makes it
time,
tick.
man.
Here's the thing: if you love a brand, like if you buy a brand new car, don't you want to know the ins and outs, what makes it tick, what makes it so awesome, not just the visual aspect of it? You want to
Yeah.
fully appreciate that car. When you go ahead and watch a movie, they have directors cut versions where the directors are talking about a specific scene and why they picked that scene, why they chose that lighting, why was this
Right.
like even after a movie, you even have directors and actors talk about like, oh well, this is why we did this, or this is what happened. And it's more just because we love the content that we're enjoying so much that we want to know the ins and outs. That's my whole thing. So if you're a wrestler, I get it. You like the whole thing, like trying to keep it within the inner circle, not to like no pun intended.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But like I've seen guys like Seth Rollins, even like indie wrestlers like Joe Alonso recently, telling fans to just be fans. It's like, dude, we just want to like see this, and we want to like we're just fascinated with the happenings and everything in there. We're not gonna sit there and just like try to be Dave Meltzer.
It's not, yeah, dude. It's not the early and mid 1900s where there's a mask of this is real or not. You know, yeah, granted, it's not like all of us that watch Game of Thrones want to go ahead and go behind the scenes and know the motivation of every scene and all that stuff. But with wrestling, that's such a fascinating part of it. It is, man. It is. But let's not detract too much from this match, man. We got a long show that we've been doing here. This match was great, man. It closed the show. It was really nice. I love the part, one part that really stuck out to me. John Moxley got dropped in the damn glass, got turned over into a scorpion deathlock, and had to crawl through the glass. But my favorite part of that whole segment, which everyone is highlighting as when he had to crawl through the glass, that wasn't it for me. It was when he initially got dropped in the glass and he got pinned, and the ref was counting the 3 count and slapped his damn hand down on some glass, and you saw him like retract from it. Like that tickled me, man. Oh, I love those little details. I loved the little details.
Even Kenny sold the fact that like he hit the spine buster or whatever it was, and then even he like caught some glass shards in his arm after Moxley kicked out, and he sold that too. It's like little things.
Yes.
One thing that the one prop that I will give JR was, or maybe it was Tony Schiavone that said that when they were Kenny was hanging Moxley over the top rope with the chain.
The blood, yeah.
The blood caused Kenny Omega to lose the grip, and that's what saved Moxley, or else Moxley would have been gone then. So it's like little tiny aspects of that, and stuff like that is why we're so interested in matches
man.
like this. It's not because
it's good, man. Sebastian,
Yo.
you, Mr. Jaded fan over here, critic.
Yes, sir.
What do you think
He
of the
said
match?
it was. Yeah, what'd you think, man?
Man, it was good. It was a good match. There was a lot of people, and well, I don't know about a lot. There was some people I saw on Twitter, and even.
I didn't ask what Twitter thought. What did you think of this match?
I'm just saying.
What did
Did it bring out the inner child? Did it bring out?
We're just saying this match is great and go watch it, but I'm just saying if you're not a fan of hardcore wrestling and over the top violent stuff, this match probably isn't for you. I'm not one of those people. I enjoyed this match. I wasn't a big fan of the mousetrap thing. I thought that was a little.
Come on, man! You got to be able to laugh at times. Like you have to be able to laugh.
But at the same time, you're like, oh yeah, they're so riled up. Somebody's gonna go out there and glue mousetraps to this cardboard. For 30
Oh,
minutes.
that was a crowd thing, man. That was such a crowd thing.
Here's the thing. Crazy Kenny Omega is legit a character that's been done on Being the Elite and on like All Elite Wrestling. So I believe in storyline, in kayfabe, Kenny is crazy enough. Like, oh yeah, like I can picture in my mind he's
Kenny Omega
in his garage, like super gluing mousetraps. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna slam it right on these mousetraps. and every single like mousetrap is being glued even more intense and more viciously than before. I can picture it totally in my mind. Kenny did that shit.
So let's do a show closer question, and then we'll wrap up here. Mr. Colin Byrne in our comment section here said that it was a very good match. And this question's for you, Sebastian. Mr. Dave Meltzer over here.
Oh, fuck Dave Meltzer.
I know. He says it's a blow-off match that was done too soon. If they do the match again as a normal match, how do they top it?
Yeah, talking about Omega and Matsu?
Yeah.
They can't.
They can't top it, right? There ain't no topping this.
I agree. This was too soon. And honestly, the level of violence they went, I'm not sure what they've done so far.
They need to become a
warranted
hardcore tag team, man.
I'm just not sure what they've done so far warranted the
Judy
level
Bagwell
of
on a forklift match. That's how you up the stakes. That's how you do it. Do it. But no, in all honesty,
No, go ahead.
honestly,
Go ahead, Seb.
I do. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Seb.
I was just saying what we've seen of the build so far. I'm not sure the build warranted as far as they went last night. I agree with him. They should have done a couple other things before they had a match and went that far like they did last night.
I think it's Jon Moxley's character that warranted for this escalation. It's due to the fact that he wanted it to be a real match and not a hardcore match. And the fact that they're like, no, we can't do that with you. You're not trusted in a real match. You're unsanctionable. And he's like, okay, you want an unsanctionable. I'm going to go full board. And that's why we got.
Even on week 2, Omega brought up the barbed wire broom and threw Omega the baseball bat, and that was week 2. Like, I just feel like they kind of jumped the gun a little bit, and I would have liked to see a little more build.
I think we'll get more out of them. I think we will. I really do. These guys, I mean, for one thing, listen, one thing that's being overlooked here, they have damn chemistry. Like, they really do. It's weird because they're so, I don't want to say they're polar opposite, but they are really known for different things. And a lot of similar things that don't get as well noticed between the character work and stuff. So I don't know, man. I think it's going to be good. But as a whole, though, this show, in my opinion, was great. Full gear, top to bottom. Not a match I would say you could skip. Outside of Vince, I guess I'll agree with you. Sean Spears and Joey Janela. If you are gonna axe one of them, that's probably it.
I felt like the triple threat tag team it was a good match. I expected more, and that's just because of the level of talent we had in the match.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was great. It was great. I got nothing left to add to the show other than if I said, if you haven't seen it, why the hell are you listening to this? Go watch it. But no, really. I mean, anything you guys want to add to it?
No. Overall, I really liked it, and I can't wait to go to my very first AEW show in a couple weeks and experience that whole thing
Jealous
live.
as a
Hopefully they do
motherfucker.
some. Hey man, I already told you. I'm telling you right now, you guys should move to Chicago. We can build our own Smack Raw podcast base here in the city. We could do a whole thing.
Hey, listen, hop on our Patreon, fund myself and Sebastian to move from North Carolina and Kentucky to Chicago. You need to be able to pack up my wife and my kids too. And Smack Raw Podcast will have a home base in Chicago.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Patreon, but we can make it if somebody wants to.
Shoot, never mind, scratch that. We don't even have a Patreon
Cash
yet.
App.
Damn it, man. Cash at me, bro.
Cash App.
Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to tune in. Wait, what?
Let's see if Wednesday, if they can take it to him every gear.
Oh my God. Dude, I am ending this right now. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to come back again on Tuesday whenever we recap Monday Night Raw. Of course, you guys can always catch us recapping Raw, AEW Dynamite, NXT, and SmackDown. Of course, we have Survivor Series. Sebastian, we got a throwback. What are we doing for a throwback?
2002 Survivor Series.
Survivor Series.
The first ever Elimination Chamber.
First ever Elimination Chamber. When's that going up? When are we doing that? Okay, anyways, guys, thank you for joining us tonight, man. Y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll get back to you. Till the next time, have a good one.